fun skin.
We're recording.
Make music go now.
There you go.
Welcome to Real Scoop Live, a show for pool chemistry enthusiasts where we talk about all the coolest chemistry stuff you never knew you wanted to know. Any chemical advice or suggestions are opinion and utilized at the discretion of each individual pool operator. With that out of the way, let's start the show. You doing a Brady Bunch thing?
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Real Scoop Live. As you can see, we're just as crazy as we were the last time you watched us.
We're so professional.
Y'all speak for yourself. My coffee just kicked in.
Nice.
My Flintstone vitamins doing its thing right now.
Get after it, Bam Bam.
So today we're going to talk about proactive versus reactive. And I'm going to let the guys take it over from here.
Well, we really didn't prepare for this, did we?
Yeah.
Oh,
we should
no,
have
I'm
been
just
more
kidding.
proactive.
Yes, not reactive. Good. I'm glad you got that, Brett. So the thing is that for those of you who've been watching all these episodes, we really appreciate you doing that. And as you know, that although our idea is to have each one of these episodes be 15 to 20 minutes, as you've watched these, you know that Brett and I sometimes get on a rant, not a rant, but that we just keep going and we can go down these rabbit holes that we really enjoy talking about, but not everyone likes to listen to. So what ends up happening is that these RSL episodes, instead of being the 15 to 20 minutes, a lot of times end up being like 30 to 35 minutes, sometimes at 25 minutes. But what we're going to do today is we're going to guarantee, at least I am, guarantee that this one is going to be 15 to 20 minutes, if that. And so Brett told me that he doesn't believe that it can be so. We're going to try to make it so. And here's how we're going to do it.
I will make it my business to make it so that is not so.
Nice. I'm going to be like Captain Put Hard. You're going to be like Riker. And I'm going to say, number one, make it so. Just kidding. So here's the way to do this. When you're talking about proactive and reactive, let's just get this out of the way first. The fact of the matter is an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Good night, everybody.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Okay, we're done. All right. So officially, that's the Matt Rybar end of the show. So we are under 15 minutes. But let's talk a little bit about that, right? I mean, obviously, for ages, most people have found that taking care of a pool is let me do as little as possible for as cheaply as possible until I have an issue. And the problem is that's a good idea in theory, but when you have the issue, it ends up costing you hundreds of dollars and literally days, if not a week or even more, to fix the problem. If you watched our last episode, you know that from a retail standpoint, the old question that, not question, but the old story that everyone that works in retail knows is when someone comes into your pool store and they say, I have a party tomorrow. There's always a party tomorrow. That they say my water's green, or I need to get it good for my grandkids who are coming over on Monday, or whatever it is. So what do I need to do? And you immediately think, well, you need to start a week ago or 2 weeks ago, or however much. And that's being reactive. But just like we learned from our parents when we were growing up, that doing things before they happen to circumvent issues is always easier than it is to wait for the issues to happen, because they just get compounded. They're harder to deal with. And that's in life, but especially in pools, because that's what we're talking about. If you're not doing your weekly amount of things that you need to do, which really shouldn't take that long, it ends up being that you're literally spending days babysitting a pool, trying to get it back to where it needs to be. And that is not just treating algae, because when you treat algae, you also change the parameters of the water testing too. So then now you have to not only treat the algae, clean the filter, but then you have to rebalance the water. Sometimes you have to refill the pool. Sometimes you have to do there's all kinds of things that you have to do if you're not proactive. So we all know that proactive is better than being reactive, right? I mean, that should be common knowledge.
I like to draw comparisons between other things, not specifically pools. And there's a couple that come to mind. So if anyone's ever done any woodworking on the outside of the house, say you've got wood trim around your windows and you've painted them. That's great. Paint doesn't last forever. So the paint's chipping.
Yeah,
Should I fix that and repaint that? Nah, I'll do that later. The wood rots. Now you've got a much bigger problem. Now you've got to replace wood versus just painting over the top of existing wood that's still good. That's stupid. It costs you more money. It costs you more of your time. Sorry to be blunt.
But Brett, I'm lazy.
Okay. You just cost your lazy self more money by not doing it. And you're spending a lot more time to fix the bigger problem than it would have been to just put a coat of paint on top of the existing wood that was still there.
Right.
So Matt, are you so lazy that when you buy a car, you don't ever do any maintenance to it? Like, I drove it off the lot. I've never changed the oil. I've still got the original air filter. And my God, I've got 80,000 miles on the...
You said factory.
I did. Sorry.
All right. So this is the one that I was hoping that you were going to do.
Yeah.
Because we talked about this before. It's like, okay, well, I mean, how many miles can you drive? So, well, you know, if I took it off the lot and just drove it forever, then next thing you know, you have pop tires, worn tires, you know,
bad
tires,
belts,
bad
all
belts.
Fluids are spent.
Or you just threw a rod because your oil is so old and thick. It's like as bad as my blood, right?
It's chunky.
Yeah.
Not your blood, the oil.
Right, yeah, no, I get it. So that's, you know, so like what you're talking about, what you're getting at is that you want to prevent it, right? Because you want your car, which is a very expensive thing to own,
just like a pool,
last a long time. Well, it's the same thing with the pool, right? And a lot of times, the homeowners that come in to your store or that you service, or if you are a homeowner, you know that you didn't just spend $500 on a pool for the most part. You have an in-ground pool or a very, you know, a traditional above ground pool, you're talking about tens of thousands of dollars. So, and that, you know, one other thing about that is right now we're, you know, this is September, right? And we're talking about all these things as far as prevention and reaction or proactive and reactive. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, there's already people that are closing their pools. And I don't really know why you would do that, because the colder the air gets, the colder the water gets, the easier it is to take care of. And if you spent $50,000, $80,000, $100,000 on a pool or $150,000 on a pool, why would you cover it up? I mean, they're so beautiful the way they are during the summer that why would you hide that beautiful thing?
Enjoy the view.
If you want to be proactive in having a nice, a beautiful opened pool in the spring, don't close it after Labor Day. Close it in like October. Close it at the end of October, beginning of November, depending on where you're at. You know, because that gives you a better chance of having a clear pool, and it also costs you less to keep it going now. So, you know, of course, you're going to close with easy pools, so you're going to open up clear anyway. But it's still, when you're looking at it, it still looks better than a cover over the top of it, right? Just one of those, sorry.
That's
going down a rabbit hole a bit. Okay. So let's talk about the different ways, the proactive versus reactive, okay? So we're talking about time savings. If you are taking care of your pool the proper way, you really should only have to spend maybe 10 or 15 minutes in the traditional way of taking care of your pool, 10 or 15 minutes a week. So what do? You go onto your phone, you put a reminder for Sunday night, you know, right before all the cool stuff on HBO or the cool stuff on PBS comes on. You go out to the pool, you do your thing, you put all the stuff in it, and then you can call it a night, because that way everyone's done swimming. It's the end of the week. No one's probably going to swim on Monday morning because everyone's now back in school. You have to go back to work and all the other stuff. So it gives you a good time frame to spend your 15, 20 minutes, get it done. It's clear for the weekend. I mean, it's clear for the week. And then next weekend, you know, you're good to go to swim. Right? Isn't that about it, Brett?
Generally.
As far as time saving? Okay. So not to plug, because, you know, the Real Scoop Live, even though it's sponsored by API, we all work for API. We try not to plug any products. So we're just talking about chemistry. But I'll tell you that if 15 to 20 minutes is too much for you, then go on to the Easy Pool or the Pepper program for salt pools, and you can literally take care of your pool in about 3 minutes. And if you can count to 5, you know, then you can take care of your pool, because it's literally with Easy Pool, it's like a scoop per 5,000 gallons. So you have a 25,000 gallon pool, if you can count to 5, it's 5 scoops. How long does that take you to do? Maybe 3 minutes. And if it's pepper, it's even easier. It's 2 capfuls for 20,000 gallons every week. It's like, how long does it take to do that? Well, shake, throw, shake, throw. Okay, good. So if 15 to 20 minutes is too much to ask, or if you want to just be able to go out there during a commercial break and take care of it, by all means, use an API product, right? but that's it for the plug. So time savings is there. Now, if you're doing reactive on the time savings, what does that include? That includes multiple trips to the pool store,
usually a couple rounds of vacuuming,
couple rounds of
rounds of backwashing, couple $100 worth
chlorine,
of chemicals to fix the issue,
algicide, and then you have to then wait for it to get clear, clean the filter again, rebalance the water, so you have to go back to get a water sample done.
And on top of that, how much is your time worth? Because a lot of times people don't factor in what their time's actually worth, and they'll say, well, I only ever use product X, and so when it goes bad, I'll use this to fix it. How much time did it take? Because if you could be doing other things, can't leave that out.
Well, if just think about it, you have so many different obligations and responsibilities that are pulling you every which way nowadays. Now you have a cell phone that anyone can reach you anytime. You have texting, you have the social media, you have your games that you have to make sure that you play every day. You have the kids, if they're, I'm just kidding, but there's kids to think about, your significant other to think about. You have all the stuff around the house that needs to be taken care of and the yard that needs to be taken care of.
Matt's looking at his to-do list right now. Yeah, there it is. Called it.
And so all that adds up to, it's like, man, I got so many things to do. I would just wish one of these things was easy, right? Well, geez, I mean, it can be. It's much easier to take care of something in 3 minutes if you're using an API product, or even 15 to 20 minutes if you're using traditional stuff that you buy at a big box store, or hopefully at an independent retailer. That stuff makes it so that you can be proactive. You can circumvent those issues. You can save that $300 every couple of weeks, plus the frustration, plus the kids being mad at you, plus the frantic, I have a party tomorrow, I didn't even look at my pool all week. That kind of thing. It's much easier to be proactive than reactive.
So when you're talking proactivity, you actually have to know a couple things about your pool, your source water, and some other things like that. So if you've already had your pool for a while, you're kind of in a good position because you know what to look for and what to expect and what you can predict is going to happen. So for this example, let's say it's a pool on well water that has a boatload of phosphates, copper, and iron that comes in when they fill the pool up from their well. If we don't do anything and we just continually top off the pool using the well water, what we're actually doing is greatly increasing the amount of copper, iron, and other contaminants in the water that could cause potential issues down the road. And it may not happen right away. You might get a couple weeks out of it. You may get a month, may get a couple months. But when it happens, it usually ends up being one of those catastrophic ones where, oh my gosh, I added 3 gallons of shock and now my pool looks like a bog. Or some other not pleasant thing for your pool to look like. So now
just think about it. How many pools did we treat this week, or that called in from, we have a long history of being on the chemical side of the pool industry. We get a lot of calls from people that have nothing to do with API products. And how many of those did we get this week that we just talked about? We had gray pools, black pools, purple pools, swamp pools, cloudy gray pools, all that stuff. And that is all from people who are industry professionals that are like, hey man, I took over this pool and what do you think about this? I mean, where do I even start? It's terrible. And last week we were talking about changing biguanide pools, which is a whole nother thing that we're going to talk about in another episode, but biguanide pools over to chlorine pools that, it's all kinds of stuff that we get from this. And I tell you that you can see at the bottom, we have an 877 number. So if you are watching this and you say, hey man, I want to know about biguanide pools, I don't want to wait until the middle of September to hear about it. Just call us or text us. We'll get with you. We love doing this stuff. Anyway,
so
ahead,
instead of letting those contaminants build up in the water to the point where they actually have enough presence to cause issues, Do a maintenance dose of a product. Do staining scales to help keep them in solution. Do metal removers to actually pull metals out. Do a maintenance dose of a phosphate remover versus having to do a crazy monster dose of a phosphate remover that could potentially cloud your water and lead to a number of other things. Because when you're doing maintenance doses, it's usually a lot smaller, so you aren't having to add as much product, meaning a lot of the side effects that you get from adding big amounts of that product are negated. You don't necessarily have as many bad downsides as you do when you have to do a troubleshooting dose of a product. Not every product that does troubleshooting has as many downsides as others, but some can really throw things out of whack. Even I'm just going to throw one of ours out there, Revive, for example.
Great.
It takes care of phosphates, scaling carbonates, stray metals, and it pulls them out of the water. Maintenance dose, 4 ounces per 10,000 gallons once a week. That keeps up with all those things we talked about, and it pulls it out slowly through the filter. You can use Revive also as a troubleshooter. The troubleshooter dose is it's a full quart, so 32 ounces per 24,000 gallons. I was trying to do the math to convert it to 10,000 in my head, and it's just not there. The coffee hadn't hit that brain
16.
cell yet.
16.
So 4 times as much.
Mm-hmm. Or 4 times as little. For maintenance doses.
For maintenance, yeah. If you're going the reverse direction.
And the thing is, I have a bottle of algicide in my hand. I was just looking at it as you were talking, and it's the same dose. It's 4 ounces. 4 ounces maintenance per 10,000 gallons, or 16 ounces if you have a problem. So again, it's a quarter of the time. So it's going to last 4 times longer if you can remember just to go out and pour some in each week, right?
Yep. Because it's easier to keep up with it before the problem happened, rather than having to knock off those weeks worth of time it took you to get your pool messed up in the first place.
Well, and that's we're talking about taking care of a pool, but think about it from a financial or an economic standpoint, especially with the things that are going on now. When we talk about products, especially multi-products like say Revive is, you're talking about one product that costs literally less than half of buying all the other products that it takes the place of, right? So now if you're saying, okay, well, Revive is so much, but it's 4 ounces, but now it's going to last me 4 times longer. Isn't it better to have a product that does all these different things that you only have to use 4 ounces per 10,000 gallons
once a week?
And instead of saying, okay, well, let me take this big old bucket full or big old armfuls and go, okay, 2 ounces of this, 3 ounces of that, 4 ounces of this. Oh, no, by the way.
Let's hope they're compatible.
This is $40 for this bottle. It's $80 for that bottle. It's $60 for this bottle. And it's $30 for that bottle, right? You talk about Revive Weekly typically runs, anywhere from $35 to $40, if that, right? Maybe even less than that, $30 to $40. So you have something like that actually will last you for months at a time, where you don't need to spend $200 for the other products that replace it, and you can take care of your pool in literally 3 minutes a week.
And on the service side, we already talked about how much is your time worth to you. I did the math because I'm a dork and figured out a dollar amount on how much it cost for a go back to a pool 20 minutes away from when I was still running pools in Chicago. This was 10 years ago or so at this point, but it was about $200 if you factor in lost time. I could have been making money doing other things. The products I had to use to fix it were actually the least amount of the cost. It was actually time, effort, insurance, gas, all that fun stuff. It all plays in. And if you don't do your true job costing, you're not really figuring that out. But you can't make more time.
That's not even taking into consideration the morale of your employees
or your customers.
Right.
They lose a little faith in you if you let their pool go purple.
Well, yeah, but the other thing too is that if you have your service, your maintenance guys, your service techs, if they can get done for a day by 4 o'clock, but then they have to do all these callbacks because of whatever reasons. Now they're not done at 4; they're done at 6 or 7, and
or 9
or 9, right, or whatever it is. And so it takes much longer because they have to do all these other things when they really could have done it a lot more efficiently before. Okay, so
that's pretty much it.
So what we're going to do right now in order to make me not a liar is we have 10 seconds. So thanks, everybody. Make sure to like and share, subscribe when you can. We appreciate you. Let us know if we can help you anytime. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Now I can't wait for summertime, it won't be coming to come back and love you like I do, love you like I do.